Jane here. It's the end of August. I can't lean on this anymore because it's covered with berries. There, get my hand through there. It's the end of August, which means it's time for a plot tour, but not before I've given you a little bit of a confession. Okay. What I'm going to say to you now, and I've gone very, very quiet. It's like I feel like the wood pigeons are listening. I'm in a bit of an allotment confessional. Is if you've watched my videos before, that you know that sort of during the winter time when there's not a lot going on in the garden, I tend to do videos about top tips or collaborations with other YouTubers about what they would recommend for gardeners, especially if you're new to gardening, what sort of knowledge they have that they'd pass on that is a must-do for the following year. And mine invariably includes keeping a diary. Keeping a diary, keeping a notebook, keeping anything at all that you can scribble down what you've done, because invariably in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, in my case, the next couple of hours after you've written it, you'll have forgotten what you've done. So my confession is, I haven't done it. This year I have not kept a diary. I think I might have started in January listing my seeds. You know, when you've got nothing else to do and you're bored and you're stuck in the house, listing my seeds. And I might have put when we planted some or none of the potatoes. I don't know, I can't even remember. I don't even know where it is. So to add to my labelling issue this year, which let's face it is an annual issue for me, I haven't got a diary to refer back to. So in a way it's worked out quite well, because what I've done instead of having that reference, if you like, I've actually looked back to my August tour from last year, from 2021, and it's been a bit of an eye-opener. So what I'm going to do as I go round, if I can get some footage in, I'll try, but if not, I'll just sort of tell you how things compare with how they were getting on last year. And apart from one or two things, yeah, you'll notice it's quite surprising. So come on, let's make a start in the greenhouse. Okay, one of the things I've been self-conscious of this year is the fact that I'm not making the use of this greenhouse at all. It's absolutely jam-packed in the spring and early summer when we're putting all our seeds in, but all it's got at this time of year, it's been used to clean up the onions, to dry out the garlic. You can see, look, there's a bramble. Oh dear, bramble making its way across there. But we've got the chilies. Now we have harvested those chilies, but that's a great little spot for them. But this is the only thing we've gotten here for now. So one of the issues is, because this staging is such a faff to get in and out, the actual growing space is quite short. So what's that? Probably 3 foot to the tallest part of the roof there. So as far as things like tomatoes and things like that are concerned, it's too shallow. So let me know what you do with your greenhouse. Have you got a similar problem? Does your staging just slide in and out really nicely? Because this certainly doesn't. I mean, we're fortunate that we don't actually need that much more space, but oh look, there's a chilli there that didn't make it. Oh dear, but there you go. But yeah, the chilies have been good, so yeah. And if I look back at this space last year, it was exactly the same. Only I hadn't harvested all the chilies, so that bit there looked really pretty. But we've got the cayenne and the jalapeno, and they're doing really well. So yeah, the greenhouse has come in useful for something. The jungle that is forever greenhouse 2. With this, the more you cut back, the more it grows. These grapes, they're incredible. I'm undoubtedly, oh, there we go. I have to move a little cobweb and apologise. Sorry, spider. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I looked in here with you last week and questioned these sun-gold sun-gold tomatoes, which aren't sun-gold tomatoes at all. But apparently these tiny ones in this corner that have been neglected. Oh, so yeah, the jury is still out on these big ones though. I'm wondering if I saved seeds from the sun gold, even though they're F1, And I'm wondering if I planted the saved seeds and they've reverted, because these are beautiful tomatoes, but they're certainly not sun gold. Anyway, I'm not going to linger on them. Let me just show you what else we've got at this end. We've got these lovely peppers. They've actually turned red without being got by anything at all. I was really tempted to pick them when they were green to save them being got by anything, but they've turned red. Mind you, maybe they're supposed to be purple. Yeah, they are, look. Okay, so very well to turn red so far. Another little green pepper there. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too long in here. Loads of sweet peppers, which look really good until I put my hand next to them and you realise they're teeny, teeny, tiny. Look. Sorry about the camera work, hopefully it'll improve. There we go. And then on this side we've got these gorgeous Marconi peppers that I got from Ali, and I know they've definitely got to change colour. Oh yeah. One thing, I'm going around on my knees here. Baby aubergine, look at the colour on that. Beautiful. But then, if we go over to Big Brother here, oh, this needs picking, doesn't it? That is a much, much bigger aubergine. But the colour, it's lost its gloss, hasn't it? I think that's got to come off. That's coming off. Okay, that's not coming off. That'll come off later when I've got a pair of scissors. But yeah, that's it. And of course, the ever wonderful, as I said, harvest to come of grapes. Fruit cage. The autumn fruiting raspberries have started. Now this time last year we were still waiting for our first ones, but again, you probably saw in the last video I devoured a handful in one go. So it's literally, they're coming few, well, I'm saying few and far between. We're getting quite a few, but we're not getting a lot of ripe ones altogether. So you can see there, look, they are delicious. Oh, the chickens are making a noise. I need to go and check they're okay. But yeah, they are nice, but there's only maybe, I don't know, again, a handful at a time. But yeah, still edible. And as for the blueberries, let's not even talk about them. It's the ongoing saga, isn't it? What on earth am I doing wrong? They've been in ericaceous soil. They have been, sorry, I've just spotted Rocky in the next door's allotment. Rocky! Oh, where have you been? Yeah, I know where you've been. Yeah, there's no change from them at all from last year, apart from they've gone from the ericaceous compost in a nice big bed to gorgeous ericaceous compost, especially bought for them in the that's a crow now. Oh no, that's a big, it's a seagull. Crikey, there's all sorts going on. It's so sorry. Yeah, gorgeous ericaceous in pots. We thought they'd do better in pots just because people said they would. They've done nothing, not even a flower. We will continue. One of the differences from last year though is I've been thinking this year that these dahlias have been so slow to get going. And again, I think it's because you compare other people's, you know, you see people on the internet and everything, they've got gorgeous flowers of dahlias. Flowers of dahlias, dahlia flowers. But these have been really, really slow. And the ones that have come, those white ones in the distance, there's a white one, let's see if I can point them out, white one and like a blush pink one there. They came from a very kind allotment friend. And in the middle of those, there's like a strange firecracker type one, which I don't particularly like. That's one I thought had lost. But yeah, last year, none at all at this time in August. So it's interesting, isn't it? We think that we're doing really badly, but when we look back, actually doing a lot better than last year. Something I'm very much looking forward to though are these blackberries on my blackberry arch. Who'd have thought they'd ever do anything after the way I yanked it out from one end of the bed and put it in this side? I'll put a link somewhere. But yeah, the blackberry arch is certainly coming into its own. Look at the size of them. And of course this wasn't doing anything last year. So really they look ready to pick, but they're not. They're still quite tough on the stems, so I'm going to leave them for a little bit longer. We've still got our early potatoes, or some of them to dig up. Pentland, Javelin and Charlotte. We're just keeping those in until we're using them actually, but they have been fantastic. And they're in the old blueberry bed, so I've said before, the compost in there is slightly acid, and I think the potatoes have really enjoyed that, so they may go back in the same spot next year. A major difference though between this year and last year, and I don't quite know why, because they were planted out around about the same time. But in last year's video I was talking about how the plants were now succumbing to powdery mildew, but they'd given us so many courgettes, I was quite glad to see the back of them. And if you look at these, look, the powdery mildew is setting in, but I think that is actually, that's probably the second courgette we've had off that plant. And if I show you, we've got one in the archway as well that is just full of flowers, and we haven't had a single courgette off it yet, so that's been particularly strange. Don't know if we can blame the weather for it or what. And next to the courgette we've got these poor old swede, which this time last week were clean. Honestly, they were absolutely fine, and then we came up and it seemed like overnight they just seemed to be decimated by green fly, black fly, whatever. So obviously they'd noticed the plants were a little bit weak in whatever way, and look what's happened since. I mean, this time last week they were looking really healthy, and when you consider we've actually had rain now, and you would think they would really pick up, they're really looking sorry for themselves. But you know what, they have produced some, whatever you call Swedes rutabaga, as you call them in the States. But yeah, they've produced some, but I don't think they're going to get much bigger than that with those leaves, but never mind. And under this net here we have got the purple sprouting broccoli, and to be honest I'm reluctant to take the net off just in case anything gets in there, because this is how those Swedes looked a week ago. They had such healthy leaves like this. So we've had a few pickings off them. You can see there, look. But I think mainly we're going to be using these for the leaves, but these will stay in. There's no rush to get these out at all. These will be in over winter. But yeah, looking healthy so far. Right, another difference here. Again, look at that courgette, look. Again, we've had one from here. Tiny courgettes. Is that lack of rain? Is that lack of water? Because I've not really been watering these beds. But we've had plenty of water over the last week or so. But these tomatoes here, I wasn't going to put any outdoor tomatoes in this year, because this time last year, within the previous week, all of the outdoor tomatoes started to show signs of blight. So whereas they looked very healthy, they actually looked like this one here. When you looked closer in, you could say, I know, Rocky, you could see that they had, there was black on the stem, but thank goodness, I hope I'm not talking too soon. A little bit of black there, but I don't think it's blight. The leaves are looking okay. Yeah, these tomatoes are looking okay. Let's see what these, oh look, they've got a label. Well done, Jane. Ailsa Craig, never grown Ailsa Craig before. Meant to be a good standard tomato. So yeah, fingers crossed they'll get to ripen before anything untoward sets in. Again on this side, this is the patty pan courgette. There have been, can you see how many flowers there've been? So many flowers. You can see it's starting to get mildew. But how many patty pan have we had? One. Just the one. So I'm assuming these are all male flowers. Now patty pan aren't the sort of things, well, courgette aren't the sort of things that you should have to go around fertilising or pollinating. Look, is there another one there? Yeah, there's another one there. So that's a grand total of 2 patty pan. But again, they're blooming, the size of the plant, that looks so healthy. The amount of flowers, that should have been popping out patty pans here, left, right and centre, but no, doesn't want to. Big difference between this year and last year are the beans. I mentioned last time how late they've been to flower, but not only to flower, if you look at that, okay, I know I have picked no beans on this side yet, because to be honest, they're only just starting, and with the runners, I tend to use them for the actual beans inside rather than the pods. I don't like the pods, but look at that. So from that one stem with beans, I've got 2 beans and they're nowhere near ready yet. And I know last year I was showing what they were like inside the pods, and in particular the gigantis. Let's see if I can find them. The gigantis, we were eating those, we were harvesting them. Let's get out the sun. There we go. And you can see just, I mean, there's only one in that pod, but nowhere near ready to pick yet. So yeah, whether we have a late surprise with the beans or not, I don't know, but they've certainly taken their time this year. Saying that about the runners though, take a look at these French beans, these Cos Violet. Again, I grow these every year, and they, I say it every year as well, I know because I watched the video. They're lovely. You just eat those straight off the plant, and they are now coming thick and fast. How long they will be harvested for, I don't know, but yeah, they need a good picking today, and they're just topped and tailed and bunged straight in the freezer. Another confession from last year was, it made me laugh. Last year I swore I would never grow beans on a teepee again. It was actually the Cos Violet that I'd grown on a teepee last year. But what I wouldn't do next year, and I know it looks pretty, and if you haven't got the space it might be your only option, I'm not going to be doing them in teepees again. And I was saying how ridiculous it was and how many you missed when you came to harvest, because they all fall down on the inside. Look what we've got there. We've got a teepee full of Scarlet Emperor, and I've got to say, you know, they're doing really, really well. So yeah, I do take that back. But these were spares that we had later on that were just bunged in. So yeah, these are all bonus, but what a bonus to have, eh? Oh, speaking of bunging things in, let's show you my dwarf beans. Look. So my question was, when I put these in, was it too late to plant dwarf beans? Well, the answer is, oh, there's Rocky. Rocky's got an opinion on everything today. The answer was obviously no, because they've come up. Now, whether the weather be hot, whether the weather be not, whatever that song is, whether the weather will allow for them to grow and actually give us beans, I would think so. It's only August. But yeah, I was in 2 minds as to whether to put them in, but I'm ever so glad I did. Chard is looking as pretty as ever. There's a little bit of borage on the side there. That planted itself. And if we look along here, we've got the cabbage. I'm going to try not to stand on the chard. Oh dear. Here we are. Let's go in here. You can see that we've picked a few already. Oh, that's no good, is it? That's really no good at all. There we go. Can you see? We've got quite a few to come there. Very pleased with those. And then next to these we have got, hold on, one of my favourites. Let's have a look. Once we remove Miss Havisham's veil, we have got a tunnel full of kale, which I love. If you're thinking you've got too much kale, keep picking it. We're not picking this quickly enough because it freezes absolutely brilliantly. And at the top end of the plot, we've got the leeks interplanted between what's left of the carrots. We are going to put more carrots in, and this squash. Again, look at the squash. What is going on with the squash this year? Obviously just way too hot. I don't think they're going to get anywhere. They might surprise us. We've got a little while to go yet before we expect any fruit from them, but really could do better. The Polytunnel. Oh heavens. Yeah, again behind. Now, I've said before I was late getting my tomatoes started this year. I was determined to do them later and see if they caught up, and they are doing okay. I did show you these on the last video, so again I'm not going to go around too much, but what I've noticed is we're getting a lot of tomatoes on the bottom of the plants. Oh, now there you go, that's completely against what I'm saying. If I show you this black icicle here, I'll come and show you. Okay, I showed you this last week, the black icicle there, quite a lovely truss there at the bottom of the plant, and then you're having to go a fair way up the stem, up to about 4 foot I'd say, before you hit any more, and then it's like they've caught up and they're quite regular. But is that to do with the heat? Is that to do with the fact that when they were growing, they were concentrating on just growing the stem and not the, I don't know, but it seems to have happened on quite a few of them. But other than that, I'm quite pleased with the tomatoes, and indeed with the Minnesota midget, just singular. On that plant anyway. I have got a couple more on the others, but bum bum bum, what's gone on with the sugar baby? Okay, there it is. First watermelon I've ever grown, and if I show you, actually there's a bit of weight to there, quite a bit to grow yet, but it was getting there. But then if I show you the rest of the plant, oh my goodness, what's happened? What's happened, Jim? What's happened to my sugar baby? Look. And it's not like it's not been getting enough water. It's been in one of these wretched grow pot type things, so it should have been getting plenty, continually topped up, but look. Oh dear. In fact, it's been getting the same as the Minnesota midget at the other end, and that's okay. So yeah, we're going to leave it on and see what happens. Better than last year. Just noticed as I've come to sit down actually that we've got quite a few damsons. That one's gone. Here, almost ready to pick. I really should have pruned this back this year, but midsummer's the right time to do it. I suppose as long as it's still growing, I can chance pruning a bit of it, but I don't want to risk getting silverleaf disease. So stone fruits are very, very susceptible to that. So same with the plum tree at the back. Anyway, I just thought it would be interesting, from my point of view, really, just for me, really, just to see how this compared, because we're all saying about this year, we're all saying that it's a weird weather year, and it is. There's no doubt about that. But anything that's been happening in the garden, we've sort of put down to the weather. And again, I'm sure most of that is true. However, looking back to last year, the dahlias weren't up yet. The courgettes and the beans were better. Okay, so they're things that take a lot of water, so that makes sense. It's been a lot drier this year, so they've taken a lot longer to come into fruition, or at least ours have. You've probably been sick to death of courgettes by now. But But yeah, so you can understand them. But yeah, the potatoes are the same. The raspberries are actually ahead because they hadn't quite started fruiting last year. The chard, all the brassicas are doing really well. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think we all beat ourselves up a little bit about, hello Waspy, about the apples over there. I've just knocked it over there. Look, there's plenty of them. There's none there. Yeah, there we go. Go and find one of the million apples that's on the floor. That's the other thing. Oh yeah, the apples. I mean, I'm looking at the roof of the chicken coop here, which seems to, fortunately for them, it stops them death by apple by being cannonball from above with all the apples. But there's so many apples on there, and I think the hot weather has caused them to drop slightly prematurely. So yeah, we beat ourselves up because in our heads, in the dark depths of winter, when we're all sitting in our living rooms with a little notepad and ideas above our station about what we're actually going to do in the garden this year and how it's going to look, and we might even draw pretty pictures and all that. And you know, it's good to just look up and say, actually, we have got these things. It's not that different. It's just the only disappointment we have is aimed towards ourselves, if that makes sense. We beat ourselves up about it if our garden isn't what it was in our heads 6, 7, 8 months ago. And there's no need for it, because if you just look around, you know, wherever you are, whatever space you've got, whether you've got a little pot or whatever, you know, you can see all the things we've actually done really well. We've grown stuff to eat. We've grown, you know, we're looking after the chickens. Loads of greens go to them. They're so well fed. You know, I've grown flowers to take home. I've grown things to give to people to be able to give away. And so actually, yeah, really, really not that different to any other year. And we've just got to sit back and be grateful for what we've got. Sorry. I do think one of the chickens wants to lay an egg, but I've taken them out of their coop and put them in their little run. Rocky's just looking slightly bemused. Anyway, so yeah, on that note, and it's just come into my head now, actually, if you follow JB at JB's Allotment, naturally JB's Allotment Diary, look him up. You've probably seen him anyway. He's one of the regular gardeners on the Potty Mouth Garden Chat. Anyway, every Monday night, look it up, Potty Mouth Garden Chat. It's brilliant. It's really good. Tony from Tony C. Smith hosts it with Steve from Greenside Up, who just knows everything. There's JB, who's not had an allotment for that long, but he's learning along the way. And there's Audrey over in the States, who again has just got an encyclopedic knowledge what needs to be done. Yeah, really good chat, really good natured, friendly chat. So go and see them on Mondays at 7 o'clock. But JB recently did a video, I think he's done 2 actually, where he was just absolutely fed up with his garden. He was looking back on, you know, all his plans and things that had gone wrong. But then what he was able to do was flip that and say, you know what though, I think the last video was called Silver Linings, I think so. And yeah, he's able to think, actually, the only pressure that's on him to do really well is pressure that he's put on himself, and actually he's done really well. So do go and take a look. So the moral of the story today is Jane hasn't done a diary. There actually isn't that much difference to this year and last year, even though I've been telling myself that it's a freak year and everything's gone to pot. And yeah, that's it. Okay, I hope you've stuck with me throughout all that. If you haven't subscribed, please press the subscribe button. Please go along to the Facebook group. Oh, I've highlighted a thing in the Facebook group that I started a couple of years ago now, and it's #PlotToPlate. And basically, it's great because at this time of year, everyone's putting up recipes of things that they've made in the garden. So it can be either chutneys or preserves, or it can be a full-blown meal or a soup, whatever, however you preserve your food, whatever. And if you put it in the Facebook group under, I know he said potty chat, under Plot to Plate, it'll show up, and it'll show up on a playlist as well. So yeah, do come over. If you're on Facebook, come and say hello. And Instagram, I haven't got the hang of putting loads of pictures and moving things and music on yet. Mine are just pictures, and that's the way it's probably going to stay. So all the details for those are down below. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. The sun's out again. It's turned out to be an absolutely beautiful day. I hope you're enjoying your garden or green space wherever you are, and I'll see you again very, very soon.